Let me wait for people to get in here. Oof, my shirt. Ooh. So I decided to do an after hour live. Yes, we're back. Okay. And this is going to go on my Patreon. But what I want to talk about is, do you think he was promoting sex tourism? I would like for you to come on and give your opinion about that. So I'm going to allow my viewers to call in and chat with me. Thank you so much. Y'all are so sweet. Y'all are so sweet. Y'all are so sweet. Listen, I dedicate this glow to my cord cutting. So I did a cord cutting. I did 2. I've done 2 within the last 6 months. And it was such an amazing experience. It's like energetically so much darkness, trauma, heartache energetically leaves your body. It's very similar to Reiki healing. So if you're interested in what cord cutting is, it is on my Patreon. It's on my spiritual tier, and you'll see it'll be a cord and it's like broken and it's so freeing. It's so beautiful. You should give it a try. But yeah, I've done 2 cord cuttings within the last, I would say, 6 months. And the first one, I had to clear some trauma from exes, like ex-lovers, ex-friends, some family members. And then I also did a cord cutting on trauma, food. Like I'm an emotional eater, so I had this unhealthy attachment to food. So I did a cord cutting on that because it was linked to my trauma. What was the other thing? Oh, being afraid of my success. I did a cord cutting on that. So a cord cutting is when you energetically break these cords that are attached to you energetically. And it could be trauma related. It could be related to certain relationships. That you're emotionally still connected to. It doesn't always have to be this horrible relationship and it was toxic. Like, you could just have this emotional attachment to an ex-friend or an ex-lover that you just need to detach from because you're trying to move on with your life. But it was amazing. And I highly recommend to anyone that is trying to move forward in life and not be stuck and not have like bitterness, like you just happily release these things so that you can progress and grow in life. And it's like really free. I like it. So, okay. So we do have a caller. Just Magic, you're up first. But wait. Before we get into it, let me go ahead and play this video back because y'all know I like to bring my receipts, honey. I don't like to just come up here and give my opinion. I got to have my receipts. So let me go ahead and play this video again, and then I'll take the first caller.
The passport boys lead Black women in the U.S. and travel overseas to date.
Like you just did. And how soon would you kiss me, and how soon would you go back home with me?
I don't know. If I had time.
If you like him a lot and he likes you a lot, do you feel a need to wait a day or two? Or
no.
So you go the same day?
Yes.
That's all I need to know. Get your passport.
No way. So you're going to give up on all the Black females in the United States?
All righty. So Just Magic, you're up first. So what would you like to add to the conversation? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Great. So what's your opinion on this?
So I'm not Brazilian. I have Brazilian friends. I'm from Dominican Republic.
Oh, okay.
And the passport bros, man. They've been a thing for so long. So the difference between the foreign European guys that come into the country is not very, very different as far as what their reasons are, but the behavior is quite different. So when the African American men go, they go over there to show off, to, kind of boast to other people about how they're getting all this sexual attention. Well, the Euro guys are kind of like, come to my yacht, and they're kind of more like trying to have a party and just enjoy the company of women. Not to say that they're not terrible too, but
Right.
the way the African American guys comport themselves is more of like a stroke of ego because they don't get it back in their country. So quiet as is kept, we all know, from the girls that don't partake in that kind of industry to the girls that do, we all know that when an African American man comes down there, he's usually not sexually socialized correctly. So he thinks that the way we act is because of him, when it's just culture that we act the way we do, which is, tending to our man and whatnot. So then another thing that also happens is that we all communicate with each other. He's a lick. Get what you can. Make him feel like he's special. Just turn up the heat as far as how, sweet and submissive you are. But just get your lick. That's all they care about. And see, the thing is, I don't even hate on it, because this is what I do here in America. When black men tell me, "Oh yeah, I like your kind of women," da 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 da, I'm like, "Hell yeah, come to my country. Hell yeah, come to my country." Why? Because I'm thinking about the women that do need money and want to get that lick, and they're just the easiest lick to get. Whereas a Euro guy is gonna be like, he's gonna want for you to establish, like, look at him with some type of respect, understand his his lifestyle. He wants you to be impressed by him. Whereas the African American men are more like, yeah, I don't get attention from my women over there, so that's why I come here, and you women are the best. And we all are in cahoots. We all
Right.
know what time it is. So that's all I have to say about them. They're not special over there. And they already have made their own reputation in Brazil, in DR, in Colombia, all that. They've already made a terrible reputation. We're obviously not going to say it to their face, because we got to hit the licks.
Oh, girl, wait a minute. Wait a minute now. Now you just came through. You didn't just drop T. You dropped a bomb, and it's just wait a minute. So it's this unwritten, you don't say it out loud.
Of course.
You just have this code among each other that this is what we're doing.
Yeah, because we already know that men that talk badly about their own women are, it's almost like treasonous. It's almost like they're natural born backstabbers.
Ooh.
So it's like, what's the point of, with dealing with them besides catching the lick? So it's just like, yes, we're in cahoots, we know, because we know that they're not loyal enough. So we'll play up our part, because we know what we're gonna get out of it, which is a visa, or some money, or
smart guy,
blah blah blah.
Smart girls, I see.
Yeah, so they're not gonna say nothing. No, none of these
know
women
the game already.
Yeah, but even here in America, like, or even back home, doesn't matter. When we're in closed spaces together, or we're running our mouth, it's not something that we're doing publicly. Like, oh, look at this guy. We're about to, we're gonna act like we're hella interested. But in between each other, we're like, man, you know how them guys are from over there. They don't give a shit about their women. You think they're gonna give a shit about us? Hell no. But he did invite me to such and such last night, and he said he's gonna drop XYZ. So that's how it goes. And I know they think that they're special, but they're not.
Wow.
They'll never be. And the ones that do become special are the ones that have kind of like the Eurocentric lifestyle that,
Mhm.
are living up to the hype, that are actually professional, that go there and they already know the language. They're very, very cultured. Those are the ones that we'll talk to. But the other ones, child, please.
Wow. But that actually makes sense. That makes sense. So you can tell, the difference. So the man that is really trying to learn the language, learn the culture, and be a part of the culture. That's how you guys are able to make the determining factor. Of course, like they have some stuff going on for themselves.
Well, some will try to learn the culture in order to sleep with the girls, right?
Mhm.
Like they'll try to learn, but you can tell the difference because one is actually well traveled. Like one is well traveled, has
Mm.
businesses, is established. He's already talking about family and normal things that a sane, good man with values will. But for the most part, they don't talk about that. They're just like, what are we gonna do later? How are we gonna party? Where can I find weeds? Where can I find this, that, and the other? And you just kind of like the runner girl that ends up being the hookup girl. Do you get what I
Mhm.
mean?
Right, right, right.
But mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. Well, thank you, Just Magic. I appreciate you for coming up here and giving us a bomb. I can't even say tea. I can't even say that, girl, because I was not expecting that. But
All right,
thank you
no
for coming
doubt.
up here and sharing. We appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Bye. Okay. Conscious Coon. Is it Cocoon? Hello?
Hello, hi Yoni.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm calling all the way from South Africa.
Oh, lovely,
I've been
lovely.
following for quite a while now. I love your show. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Thank you. Thank you. So what would
Yeah,
you like to add to
I just
tonight's
I just went
conversation?
on a date yesterday with a white German man,
Mm-hmm.
and we just had an interesting conversation where he said German women are masculine, confident but very masculine, and that was a red flag for me.
Mm.
He said German women are very confident but very masculine, whereas African women, on the other hand, are very confident but very feminine. And I was like, oh, really? Why do you say that?
Mm.
Because they're just very masculine. And he didn't explain, and physically he's a short man. Not, no offense, no offense, no offense. But,
Right.
these are things that are recurring. These are things that we look at, when you're vetting someone. There's certain things you look at and you're like, okay, he might be a little bit insecure and this. He's a
Right.
short man. And he mentioned how he has no social life in Germany and how he's very depressed when he's in Germany, but when he comes to South Africa, he has a different lifestyle, and the euro compared to the South African rand is very high in Africa. The euro
Mm.
is very high. So I was just listening to him and like, yeah, okay, okay. But I guess these are the things you're supposed to look out, because very interesting
So you're experiencing this in a white male in South
in a white
Africa.
male.
So are you telling the
Yes,
girlies that they need to look out?
absolutely. And a friend, oh my God, it gets so interesting because I have a friend. So we went on a double date. And his friend, the previous night, was trying to have my friend sleep over at his place. But my friend ended up going back home because she had to work yesterday.
Wow.
And his friend got really mad that my friend didn't sleep over at his place. Now he's telling me because he's tipsy and he thinks I'm gonna be quiet about it, but I'm very sober. I'm listening to what he's saying. And he's like, oh, don't tell your friend. But my friend had a Tinder date yesterday after your friend decided to go home. He was really mad. But don't tell him. Don't tell her. I'm like, absolutely. What stays in Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I was just like, oh my God, no way.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
It's
What
so bizarre.
what is this like do you feel like men today are just hypersexual?
I guess. And I feel like now that, like the world is like a global citizen right now. It's like a global, people can just move around. We just have to be careful.
Right.
Yeah, very careful.
That is crazy. That is
It
crazy.
is crazy. And this just happened last night.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Well, thank you for coming up here. Well, did you have anything that you wanted to say about the Austin situation?
No, not at all. It's just that for me, I have experienced like also certain men that are very disconnected with reality, and that's what I felt with him. It's you can just see the way they talk. It's the way they assume they're in this bubble, in this entire whole bubble that they live in, and completely disconnected with reality.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was picking up on. Well, thank you so
Mhm.
much for coming up here, gracing my live. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I love you so much. Love all the way from Africa.
Love you too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. So I can't say your name, but I'm going to just call you D. You're up next.
Hi, Yoni.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Good. What would you like to add to this live?
I was going to say that Austin brings so much, like what's going on with Austin? He brings up so much, I would say trauma. Yeah, because I've dealt with like when I was single. I'm not single right now because I'm married, but I would give a tip to you women on not what to do. But when I was single and I was like dating and I was going through things, etc. Austin would, the type of guy like Austin is like a lot of people I came into. Like I've heard a lot of like before I would say quote unquote when I was in my mammy stage,
Yeah, we all
I've
were.
met a lot of like Black American dudes that would be like, "Oh, you Haitian? You are so much better than these Black Americans." Like they would, yeah, yeah, they were literally doing that stuff. They were praising something about, "Oh, oh, she Caribbean, she bad as hell. Caribbean women better than they better, man. They can twerk better." And then I was just shaking my head, and then I'm like, "That's great to know."
Right.
And little did you know, I blocked them, never talked to them. Some of them be like, "Why are you not texting me? What did I do?" Some of them sending crying emojis. I literally just ghosted them.
Yeah.
And
They really don't have a clue. It's
yeah,
wild to me how they don't have an idea or a clue of how they're turning these women off.
yes. And I just want to like say that these men, and if you are cloud watching and you are like, being like, "Oh, are they lying, etc." It's not lying. We, like us women, quote unquote foreign, we don't like you comparing us, like your women making your women feel bad to make us feel better.
Right.
Because when we're actually talking to a guy, it's always like, what do you like about our culture?
Right.
Not
Ooh.
what you don't like about your women culture. It's really not attractive. But yeah, I dated, etc. And here I am married and all, but I would just tell women that's a red flag. As soon as you hear that from a dude, pack your stuff and leave, girl.
Right.
You don't need to talk to that man.
Right.
But yeah, that's all I have to say about that Austin thing. He was ignorant. I think he was promoting S trap, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of passport guys. He happened to go to Thailand, another, I would say, impoverished country.
Right. I saw that too.
Yeah, they never go to Europe or somewhere like Africa, or even when they talk about Latin America, you notice they never ever go to Haiti. Like they always going to places that is predominantly quote unquote ambiguous and
Right.
not black or established. But hey, I got the catfishing and all about the fishy stuff. That's all I gotta say. But thank you,
Right.
Yoni.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming up here. Okay. Well. You guys had a lot to say about this. That the first girl though, I was like, girl, wait a minute. You dropping all this tea right now? I wasn't ready. I was not ready. I'm trying to find a video that I wanted to play. Let me go ahead and pull it up. Oh, here it is. Okay, he's one of my faves. I love him on TikTok. Let me go ahead and share. Let me go ahead and share. I'm still taking callers. If you're interested, let me know. Here he is. Here he is. This is the ultimate. His name on TikTok is the ultimate black man. So let's see what he has to say.
The passport. Breaking news with incoming receipts. The passport.
You don't say. I actually recorded a video yesterday that I'm actually about to drop where a guy who lives in Brazil talks about the laws over there when it comes to, abortion. So I'm going to post that in a minute, but this does not surprise me. And I'm going to tell you why. A lot of these dudes, they go overseas, trick their money off, and they'll make babies. And what they'll end up doing is just coming back over here to the States, and they don't have to, handle that responsibility of taking care of those kids. That puts stress on an already down economy in Brazil. These countries aren't going to allow you men to go over there and make babies with these women and not handle your responsibilities. So the government is issuing warnings, as they should. This passport stuff, dead in the water.
Breaking news with incoming receipts. The passport.
So this is another man on TikTok.
Breaking news with incoming receipts. The passport bro savior, Austin Holloman, is now currently being harassed, threatened, and ran out of Brazil. And guess by who? Those passive, submissive, feminine Brazilian beauties. As you can see here, what he posted. You have seen the end of Brazil on my channel. Oh my God. They're running this boy out of Brazil, y'all. Passport bros. But wait, there's more. He also posted this post right here, which he's calling out the Brazilian women for siding with the American women, in which he says, imagine siding with the same, all caps, same women that called you luts, desperate, poor, and astutes. Wow. What sense does that make? So now he's upset that the Brazilian women have banded together somehow with the American women all across country lines in continents, right? To band together to rid themselves and purge themselves of this passport bro pandemic. This is a crazy turn of events. When I say the jokes literally write themselves, and God has the biggest sense of humor ever. Break.
You guys, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say no more. It's a mess out here in these streets. I told y'all what was gonna happen. And y'all were like, oh, this is not what's gonna happen. You guys, there's a bigger force behind all of this. It really don't have nothing to do with my opinion, my narration. It really don't. Like, there's a bigger force that's happening, and I label it a reckoning. And the reason is because this reckoning is spiritual. And it really don't have nothing to do with me. It really don't have nothing. Well, I mean, I may be affected by it, but it's a spiritual. This spiritual thing is happening before our eyes, and that's why I said that there's no escaping this. What I do find interesting is that a lot of men are upset that now women are in the position that men have been in for decades, and they don't like how they're being treated. And so instead of them correcting the culture, they're running across seas to escape it. And it just doesn't make sense. There's no escaping what you've done already. You've done what you've done, and it is what it is. Okay, we have another caller here. How do you pronounce your name, sweetie?
It looks like Asher, but it's pronounced Saja.
Daja?
Ajay.
No, Ajay. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Ajay. Ooh, I
it's
like
fine.
that.
It's real
Okay,
fine.
Ajay. So, what would you like to add? I have to say it like that. What would you like to add to tonight's live?
Okay, so I just got in not too long ago, but I just seen the two guys mocking the Passport Bros,
Mhm.
and it's disheartening to see people go be so separate
Mhm.
and lack understanding of one another, because that's what's pretty much is what's happening is
Oh, I
nobody
can
wants
agree
to
with that.
take like nobody wants to take accountability, so they're going to go the easy route and prey on people or women that have nothing to do with what's going on in the states, um all for the sake of feeling masculine,
Mm,
when you can simply be yourself,
right,
accountable, and just do better. You just heal and do better for yourself, and whoever hurt you, heal from that,
right,
and just do better here in the States, and you could potentially, hopefully, find somebody that likes you for you and wants to grow with you and actually have a genuine relationship.
right,
Because, like, you rather be with somebody to feel masculine, but they're really only with you to get what you have and not, kind of feed your soul in a
right, right. It's
way.
very surface level. There's no real connection there. It's very shallow.
Yeah. And so it's very frustrating because I don't know, it's very frustrating on both sides, both men and women. Obviously, we're talking about the Passport Bros.
Right,
But it just goes deeper than that. And it just sucks to see like this war. And personally, I need to work a little bit more on being open and hopefully attracting men that are genuine. You know what I mean? Because that's genuinely
so
what I want.
I have
And
to
this
ask.
is,
I have
oh
to
yeah,
ask
go ahead.
you're sparking my interest. So I
Uh,
made a video not too long ago about the wounded feminine. And the
mm-hmm,
question in that live is, where do you think women are going wrong? Where do you think women are going wrong?
mm-hmm.
That's my question for you.
Where do I think women are going wrong?
Mhm.
I feel like where humans are going wrong in
Mm.
general. Like I feel like
Okay,
this is
I like that.
is we don't genuinely want to get to know somebody, where the not we, but for most, it seems like the forefront is what can I get from this person, not what can I
Mm,
do for
right.
this person, just on a friend, human level. You know what I mean? I
So
think
you
that's where we're going wrong.
so you
Does
feel
that
like
make sense?
you feel like the human race has created this transaction among men and women.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
I can agree with that
It's
1,000%
yeah.
because we're not just seeing it in romantic relations. We're also seeing it in friendships now
Yeah.
when it comes to content creating, digital world, Instagram, TikTok, and it's like, oh,
Mhm.
I need to have this social group for content. So we're
Mhm.
seeing it in all areas. Like it's not just with the men. So I 1,000% can agree with that we as
Mhm.
a human race have created these transactional relationships, and it's like we don't even know how to be personable anymore. We don't know how to connect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can
Yeah.
agree with that. Have
Yeah.
you had issues with connecting with people in your friendship?
Um, I have, but so I had moved to Texas, and before I did, I set an intention where I wanted to create relationships, like whether that's platonic or romantic. Um, but initially, really wanted to focus on friendships. And one thing I realized was I wasn't grateful for the current relationships or friendships that I had, and I
Mm,
thought I needed more friendships, and I had to write down in my journal, like, what do I value in these current friendships and why do I think I need more?
mm-hmm.
Um, and then I also had to remind myself not to be or feel desperate, because that energy, it's like a stench almost.
Right, right.
um,
And
so
but it
yeah,
attracts the worst kind of people. So I definitely understand where you're coming from, sis.
yeah. and I've always had that mindset, like, don't be desperate, because you're not going to get what you want. So sometimes it comes and it goes, and you do see that, you see the anxiety, and you repel people. But to answer that question, yes, I've had trouble in friendships, but I always had to reevaluate and see where I could do better in my relationships, and to see where I value the people that I currently have in my life. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I don't know. It hurts a lot to know that people are not trying to genuinely connect with one another. And I get that you may not vibe with this person, and so you may not want to hang out with them. That's a valid thing. It's not going to, I'm not saying kumbaya with everybody, but to at least try, and to at least be open, and to kind of just share one another's perspectives. And if it doesn't work out, it was like, hey, it was nice to meet you, and go on about your day and not hold any bad feelings. But back to the passport bros, this seems, it's a predominantly Black man thing, obviously, and it's turning me off. Like, I've noticed I've been not attracted to Black men, like, since it's in bed. It's like, I feel bad because I always thought I wanted a 6'4" dark-skinned man. Girl, like everybody.
You ain't the only one. Honestly, this is where I started really looking at other men hard. Like, oh, he's cute. Like, oh, I'm over here watching Viking movies on Netflix. Oh, he's masculine. I like how. And the reason why I started looking in that direction hard, and I mean harder than I ever have, because I've been around white boys my whole life, right? It was when Kevin Samuels came up on the scene, and some of the things that these men were saying, it just didn't make me feel comfortable as a woman to even feel secure with them on a emotional level. I didn't feel safe no more, because the main reason why I would go for a Black man was because I felt like emotionally I could be safe with them, simply being that we both face, racial issues socially. But once they started coming out saying how they really felt, I no longer emotionally felt safe with them. So now I'm seeking men outside of my community for that emotional safety, because once they started like really talking about women in the most demeaning ways, right? And a lot of it was like, well, women act like that because we're emotional beings. You don't want us to be emotional beings. I started looking very hard in other men.
And I just realized that, like, when I see, I be like, he all right. Like, he could be the finest dude in the world, but it's like, he all right. And it just sucks. It sucks, but that's just what happened. And I also, like you said in your other videos, men are men, humans are humans, so you still need to vet and be mindful that they will disappoint you, or they will have some misogynist ways. The ones that benefit me, like, don't take out the trash because you're a woman. Yes, that's great. But it's sad. It's sad. But I don't want to hold you. I'll let you go back to what you were doing.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed you coming up here and talking with me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes. All right, then. You have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay. Okay. Is it Delilah? I believe you came up here before. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
It's close. It's Delilah.
Delilah. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I believe you came up here before during my video. Okay.
Yes.
So what would you like to add to my video for tonight?
Well, I kind of wanted to add a little bit of perspective from Latino culture, and what we see from there, because I am from a Mexican background, and we see this often, but not necessarily with Black men, but with white men, right? So when I was seeing the whole trend passport bros, and I was just really confused because a a lot of Latina women have very high standards. We have very high standards. You want to be taken care of. You don't want to be the one working. There's a lot of stay-at-home moms, and that's a lot of work in itself, right? But it's never like I understand there's a lot of fetishization surrounding, foreign women, things like that, and I feel like men grab onto that and just run with it, right? So when I see someone like that, and I was talking to my husband because he's Dominican, but he's a Black Dominican, and I was speaking to him and I was asking, like, what do you think about this? He's like, they have no idea what it really entails. Like, they think it's extremely easy to court these women, but in the long run, like, you have to play the long game because it never works out the way they think it's going to work out. Right. And instead of focusing on the courting, because courting is still very present in Latino culture or Mexican culture specifically, also Dominican culture. So I'm guessing it's very Latin centric, right? But there's still those are traditional values. And that's why I feel like he saw those traditional values when he went to Brazil, right? You liked the traditional, the hospitality, this and this, but when it comes to the standards, when it comes to the way that you approach women, that's where, I don't know where the disconnect was. Because of course, like, there's no courting whatsoever at all. And yeah, I might work with a couple of women, but at the end of the day, like, women see this. We're not blind. And just because she's from Brazil doesn't mean she's blind, and those standards are just going to be higher, of course. And at the end of the day, like, I was talking to my husband and he's like, they're going to, men who think they can take advantage of them don't realize that they're going to be taken advantage of as well. If they get that vibe, if they feel that sentiment, they're going to take advantage of that man.
Right.
So I was asking, like, is that very common in your country? He's like, oh yeah. He's like, we have a term for that, and it's called chapeadora, or gold digger kind of stuff. It's kind of a gold digger when there are specific women like that. He's like, but that's not the long run. If you want to have a woman, that's not going to work out for you in the long run. If you want to have a woman, you have to be courting, but it's years and years until you get that commitment, because just like men have those men in these countries know that women hold to those high standards, we also give a lot, right?
Right.
So there's a lot of like, okay, where is the equal exchange? I need to know I'm being loved up. Flowers every week, restaurant dates, getting very serious with the family. Like, it has to be super romantic, things like that, right? And I just like the whole spicy Latina or spicy culture, this and that. I think that's a whole other topic, but I'm like, there's no, is it just because we're from this country, you allow the supposed arguments to be, oh, well, she's spicy, that's how she is with the attitude, blah, 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 which is a ridiculous notion. It's just ridiculous. It's hilarious to me that, because that's just every human being, right? It's not going to change just because you're in a different country.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, I think men just have to wake up. And I don't want to speak specifically about Black men, but I have seen that, that fetishization and, what you talk about as the preferences, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, like, a lot of Latin women know about Black American men. It is very present in the community. And they know that, like, okay, well, am I going to get the same thing that I would from a man that I know is going to court me, who's going to be romantic with me, who's going to do the whole thing? And I don't know. I think it's naive. I think it's naive, and it's very disrespectful to think of women that way. Just because I'm like, she was not born 2 days ago, but they're going to be nice to you, obviously, because you're coming in. They're going to treat foreigners well, of course. There's a certain respect that they have for people visiting the country, but you're not going to fool them. They know exactly. They know more. They have a tougher lived experience than you ever will. So
those women, I feel like they're gonna be way more street smart, way more.
yes,
Yeah, way more
very
hidden.
cunning,
Right.
very smart, exactly, and they know exactly how to move around.
Age is not a factor in how street smart they're gonna be. So
Nope.
no, that's crazy. That was such a great point. Well, thank you for coming up here and sharing your perspective and giving your opinion. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on, and I love your whole fit and outfit. You look great.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye. All right. Hold on, wait a minute. Next caller. Hello, how are you?
Hi. I just want to say I really love your channel, and I'm
Thank
like
you.
a little
I'm like, you're a
stuck.
frequent watcher. You're dedicated, honey. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. But I just wanted to say like I wanted to reference what Audrey was saying. I think I'm pronouncing her name right. When she said that we make relationships as a transaction, right? But like I've been I've had a psychiatrist before, and he told me, he made me see it in a different way. Okay, he said every relationship, whether familial, platonic, friendship, romantic, every relationship is a transaction. Hell, even us with the law, it's a transaction, right? We expect the law to protect us, but we're giving power to the people that are making the laws or the people that are upholding the laws to protect us, right? So it's an exchange no matter what. It doesn't have to be tit for tat, but every relationship is an exchange. So if something's not working or you're feeling not fulfilled in the relationship, that's when you have to be like, okay, let me assess what am I getting from this person, and
So you
what
feel
am
like
I bringing to this person.
you feel like we should change the conversation to more of, well, what's a fair exchange look like for men and women?
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter if it's between a man and a woman or two women or whatever, right? Whatever relationship is, when something's not working and we're feeling like there's a lack, that's when we need to be like, okay, what is it that I'm getting from the relationship, and what is it that I feel that I'm missing, and what is it that I'm willing to compromise on? And then you have a conversation with that person saying, okay, our relationship, I like this, I like that, but I don't like this. And I would prefer to have that, or whatever the case may be, or I want to have more of this, or whatever, right? And then you're making your expectations known. Because the person is not a mind reader, right? So they don't know what you want. So you have to tell them what you want if something's not working, but you also have to accept that that person doesn't have to give you what you want. Right? Because that person also has his or her own will.
Right.
And
And
you
so
can express that you want a cake for your birthday, but that person can say, I don't want to bake you a cake for your birthday. And you have to have the mindset that just because that person says no to you doesn't mean that that person doesn't care about you or doesn't love you. That person has a right to say no, and you have a right to say, okay, well, I can get my own cake, or you can buy me a cake or something, or how about cupcakes instead? Or
So
pancakes.
you feel like, in your opinion, entitlement is where we're going wrong. It's not the exchange. It's not that there are people out here that have boundaries and they say no. It's the fact that when things don't go our way, we feel entitled to our way.
Exactly.
Never
And then
thought about it like that.
we feel slighted, as
Right.
if the person is like being mean to us.
Right.
But then we have to think like, okay, but if that person asks me to do something and I don't want to do it, I don't feel like doing it, I have a right to say no. So they also have the right to say no. And if I say no to my partner, to my mom, to my husband, to whoever the hell it is, it doesn't mean I don't love them as much. It
Right.
just
It's
means
just
I don't want to do it. And then now you have to say, okay, well, you don't want to do this, but I really want to do this. So are we going to compromise and say, I'm going to do this with someone else, whatever it is? I'm going to meet my need somewhere else. Or can we compromise and say, okay, well, what if we do it less often? Or whatever the case may be. But the thing is, we have to accept the person as that person is. We have a tendency of like loving a person and loving the idea of a person, right? We
right.
love their representative, we see them, and then we're like, oh, okay. And then, like, how we want them to be, that's what we love. But then we don't really love that person because as soon as that person does something we do
You
not
don't like
agree with,
right, right.
or as soon as that person says, I don't like what you did, or I don't like this about you, automatically we're like, well, I don't want that person anymore. And
Right,
it's
right,
like,
right.
if you love someone, you accept them with all of their flaws and all of their qualities. And you have to accept that certain faults come with it. And then
Right.
you have to decide, okay, is that a deal breaker for me? Is that something the person is willing to work on? And am I willing to tolerate it because the pros outweigh the con?
But do you
So,
feel like sometimes Black women we're overly reasonable? Like
oh
we
yeah,
do
definitely. There's not a shadow of a doubt. I feel like women, we are I feel like we have an advantage over men pertaining to our emotional intelligence. Now,
Mhm.
obviously, we've all had trauma, etc. So, like, it does affect us, and the way we were raised affects that emotional intelligence. But we have that. It's like it almost comes programmed in, and it's easier for us to access, right? Our emotional side. Whereas
Right.
men are only looking at the logical side, which is the logical side is good. But if you're focused on one point, right, and you have no peripheral vision, yeah, you can say, okay, I'm going straight forward. But like if there's a car coming on the side and you don't see the car coming and you have a huge blind spot because your vision is only straight forward, like that's a problem. And I feel like we as women, we bring that blind spot. We look like we
You feel
make
like
sure to
do you
look at every option, every different scenarios and nuances that life brings.
do you
And
feel
then
like men can be emotionally intelligent? Or do you think
yeah,
we're
I
handicapping
absolutely
them?
do. I just feel like we don't raise them to be, and we're complacent because we're just like, oh, men will be men, boys will be boys, instead of saying, okay, I'm gonna raise my daughter the same way I raise my
My
son,
son.
right?
Mhm.
Obviously your son needs male figures in his life because as women we're going to be overprotective, and they have to learn how to take risks and be brave and fearless because they're supposed to be the protectors, etc.
Right.
But we still have to show them that yes, it's okay to cry. Yes, it's okay to be angry. There's a way to handle your emotions, right?
Right.
But every emotion, there's no bad emotions. Whatever emotion you're feeling is how you're feeling. How you deal with it, how you internalize it, how you reflect on it and act after it, that's what makes the difference.
Right. That's the
So
determining factor.
yeah, so we're not supposed to say, oh, men will be men, oh, men are aggressive, oh, you know how men are. It's like, no, we raised them that way. So
Right.
let's change how we raise them. And let's make sure that we're not telling our daughters, oh, you need to learn how to clean, cook, but not our sons. Let's not make them feel like they're princes and the daughter is like a second mom and a maid. Let's not
Cinderella.
let's not be like, okay, we're going to church, and then the son has like Sunday school and it's 30 minutes, but the daughter is there for like 4 hours and like not doing anything. Let's not say, oh, my son can stay out, but my daughter cannot. Let's raise them both
Right.
the
The
same
same.
exact way, like with the same morals, with the same rules. Obviously, yeah, I know like you have to adapt to each child, but like I feel like it is our responsibility to make sure these men have emotional intelligence. It's going to be harder for them, but if we raise them practicing it, then we won't have these problems where men are like dating women, and as soon as she says no to something, they don't know how to like deal with the anger or the rejection, and then they take it out on
On
other
on
people,
yeah.
right?
People. Women.
So yeah, that's really what I wanted to say.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you for coming up here and sharing your perspective.
No
It's nice
problem.
seeing you again.
Thanks for having me. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All righty. Next caller, Serena. Well, hello,
Hello.
hello, hello.
Hi, Yoni. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Yoni. I just wanted to come in and talk about this whole passport bro situation. Now, did you have any initial questions at the beginning? Because I came in from the other live, but
Oh, no. The afterlife is about the passport bro. So what was your opinion on Austin or the situation with passport bros?
well, I have a different perspective.
Okay.
First of all, I hate this whole passport bros thing. I don't like it at all.
Oof.
Because these men are selfish. They're going out of their way and going into these countries where they don't know anything about the culture. And the women over there, I'm sorry if the wind is bothering you. I'm walking my dog right now.
Oh, no, you're fine.
They just don't know what they're walking to. Now, I have a family history about this. So I wanted to share my experience.
Okay.
And I'll make it short because I know there's other women like me waiting to talk. So, let's start from the beginning. My grandfather, I'm not going to call him my grandfather. This man, he's an African American man.
Okay.
He was in the army. He went to Europe and he met my grandmother, married her, settled down and had kids, which include my dad. And so my dad is a light-skinned biracial man.
Okay.
Now, I don't know anything about my dad's dad, but I have been told by my other family members he's not a good man. He cheated on my poor grandma. Now she's sick. She doesn't have a home. She's living with my disabled auntie. Now my dad, he went today to go see them. And my dad, see, here's the thing. He's sweet. He's a good father. He's a good husband.
Right.
But unfortunately, he follows the whole 50-50 thing.
Oh.
He went. I could see it. Like, he doesn't understand about being a good provider. Like, he never had that role. The man is supposed to be the provider, the protector. But because this father of his was not a good man, that had an effect on him. So my dad became a musician. He traveled around the world. Now, my dad, I don't consider him a passport bro because he had other intentions.
Right.
He goes around being a musician, travels, and I am so happy that he travels and has life for himself. Now, he met my mom. my mom is from Thailand. Now I hear a lot of these guys going to Thailand. Thailand has the biggest sex tourism in the world. And my mom, she is in a good place at the time. Like, they're both Christians, so they met in church.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, they fell in love and they got married and they came to the Americas. However, like I said, my dad isn't good stably. We came here with less than $100 in our pockets. I was born here, and so was my sister. And we struggled in the beginning. My mom saw that. Now, at first she was thinking about, this is kind of deep, but see, my family's a good family, and I love them to bits. I love my parents to bits, and I want to be able to help them settle down and, have a house, and I just want the best for them. But I'm saying it was hard climbing up the ladder. Now we're in a better place.
Right.
And I'm praying that my grandma will get the help she needs and I be able to get my goal of finishing school and getting a house for my family. But I'm saying that this passport bro thing is going to break people. It, like, these men are going out and they're picking out these women. These women, all they know is to be submissive and serve their men, because in these countries, that's how the men are, right?
Right.
So I don't like it. But I understand. I'm a mixed woman. This is a Black women's platform. Now, if there's anything about Black women, I think they are feminine. I grew up in a very multicultural society. Like, I live in a white neighborhood, I get it, but I went to a Black church. So over there, the ladies were the most feminine women ever. My mom, and this is a good thing about my mom, is that she understands that Black women, they're able to hold their heads high, and they're still very hardworking, very diligent. So I learned the best from them, is what I'm saying. And I think these women don't have to worry about the passport bros. The Black women here. So, and for me, like, I love that I came and saw your YouTube channel, Yoni. Like, you're doing a great thing. I'm always happy to come into your live and listen to what you have to say, and I know you know it that you're coming in and helping these women. And I don't want to drop a name in here, but Chrissy, Chrissy's also a good channel. And like, I wouldn't say darker skin. I'm brown skin. Usually with mixed kids, you'd be lighter skin, but I'm a brown skin woman. But
so you pass as Black.
And when I was younger, I would pass as Black. Well, when I was younger, there was like something happened in my neighborhood, and this lady came up to me, is like, "You came into my balcony and did something to it," but then it got resolved. And I've gotten called the N-word before, and that was a shock. But I'm not going to call myself victim, because it's Black women who have the hardest of the hardest. Me, I just have the tip of the iceberg. Now, I'm proud to be who I am, and I don't want to replace Black women. I really don't. That's why I'm here, and I want to learn more about them and understand, okay, what's happening. But I understand, like, I wouldn't be considered an ally, but still, you guys need to go mainstream. So, anyway.
Well, your support will help us get there.
Yes, of course. I'm willing to support you. Always.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you.
yeah. So, it's funny because now I see this family has a habit of being, like, foreign. There's a man, I met him. He's from South Africa, actually. He's white. He's an Afrikaans man. So, but because I've been watching so much of your shows, Yoni, so much of the other Black women, ladies, I vet him. I've been vetting him for a year now, and I'm not done. He seems like a good man, but you always have to vet hard.
Yeah, you do.
So that's my takeaway. I'm sorry it took too long, but thank you for taking my call. All right.
You're welcome. You enjoy the rest of your night and take it easy on your walk, girl. Cause
Sorry. I'll be careful, Yoni. Thank you. Have a good one.
You're welcome. You have a nice night.
Yeah, good night.
Okay, Golden, you are up next, sweetie. Golden, are you still there? Okay, we're gonna come back to her. Casey. Well, hello, darling. How are you doing? Hold on, wait a minute. I can't hear you.
Okay, my bad. I was on mute.
How are you doing?
Good. I'm good, girl. I've been on the show talking to you before, and I just decided to show my face because everybody was showing their face. But I was getting ready for bed and trying to get the kids to bed, and I was like, "Oh shoot, she live! Hold on." Okay.
So, what would you like to add to this passport bro conversation? Do you think he was promoting sex tourism?
I mean, okay. So what I feel like, yes, I feel like this. The reason why I struggle with this is because I really don't want to sound negative,
right?
Because there's so much negativity out there, and I really like try to be as positive as possible. And like one of the other girls, because I did come in a little late, so I didn't get to hear everybody's takeaways. But one of the young ladies was talking about how she had a therapist or a psychologist and talking about what you can accept and what you don't have to accept and all that type of stuff.
Right.
I feel like all of the passport bros in this situation are looking for validation. I feel like they're looking for validation within the women who are in these other countries to validate their ego. And I also feel like they're looking for validation from other men, kind of like in the hierarchy of the patriarchy. And then I also feel like they're looking for validation from us because we really don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the situation where I feel like he's trying to promote this way of life, and so many of them are trying to promote this way of life because they have so many insecurities about what they're able to pull or who they're able to pull here.
Right. But it's also from a provider standpoint. One thing that I picked up on too, I was on TikTok, and these men their visa is status over there because they're US citizen. So that status for those women as well, like they're seen as status in that way. But it seems like it's just that's what the women feed into that ego because they're like, hey, I'm US citizen, so they automatically think, oh, okay, he has money. But another thing is that a lot of these men feel like they don't have to provide the American life. They only have to provide like this foreign life that tends to be cheaper depending on the country that they're going to. And so as a Black man, it's hard to climb the ladder in the US. It's easier for them to climb the ladder over there in these other foreign countries because it's underdeveloped. The government is underdeveloped and things like that. So egotistically, they're being fed in that way as well when it comes to their status because it's not going to take as much funding to start a business over there. It's cheaper living over there. So the requirements financially are low. And so they feel like it's an easier life for them. So that's why it's like, I'm not completely against passport bros taking that approach with their mind. Right. But just don't take your dysfunctional, toxic ways over there. That's the only thing.
And it's not just, and I totally agree with you on that. Like, don't take your toxic, dysfunctional ways over there and don't try. The reason why I said validation is don't try to then decide, like the other young lady said, that you want a certain standard or you want a certain partner and you're going to go find that partner. Don't then, like the lady said also in the TikTok that you had posted earlier, the lady from Africa, where she was explaining the dynamics. I watched that earlier, and like, don't then, when you decide to have this different frame of mind and you facilitate this change in your life, don't then take it out on us by demeaning and degrading us because you want to have some type of validation for the way that you think we're doing something wrong as Black women in America. You can't take that out on us. Just like she said, we're a product of the systemic processes that Black men have allowed to remain in place. You didn't have to allow those systems to remain in place. You could have stood up when we were backing you up back in civil rights era and had our back when we supported you through all of the tomfoolery and foolishness that you were carrying on with. But you didn't want to support us in the same way that we supported you. And you wanted to continue as Black men to have your hand out from other races to be validated. And that's why I said it's about validation and it's about ego. Don't then take out your insecurities on us because you want to go. Just go quietly. Because people who are not insecure can go quietly.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Black men have to understand. Well, I talk about this too sometimes, like with people who are within my circle. And to me, it's like Black women have gone into interracial dating fairly quietly. The only time that we have really spoken up about it is when a Black man or some group of Black men have had a problem with us dating interracially and we're defending ourselves. So for you, for everything that Black men do, including this situation, it's like, cool, like you can do what you want. We don't have a problem with it. Quite frankly, for me, the way that I've been treated by Black men, I don't have like a hatred because I've done a lot of healing. Like we've talked about my story and my kids and my situation. I've done a lot of healing on myself to the point where I can come on here without no makeup on and be able to vocalize my truth in situations to where I don't care if that makes you happier to go overseas and find a wife. You can do that if you want, but don't then try to put me down and tear me down because you have an insecurity that in the process that you haven't dealt with. Deal with your stuff. Deal with your shadows first.
Because me and you are in this healing space, we're in a space where it's like, okay, we wish you well. Like, you know, like go be happy, you know? But we don't like the disrespect of how they're going about it. Like, honestly, I feel like it's great. And the reason why I feel like it's great is because I just don't feel like African Americans, we've ever been able to break free and just get out here and explore life for ourselves. Like we've always had these limitations. And even when it comes to Black women, it's like, I want to see them travel too. It's not even just the men. It's not, I'm just promoting them to go because I'm hurt. No, I'm promoting them to go because I really feel like it's needed for us to venture out and explore our options and seek higher opportunities. And if that means going to a foreign country, I love that for us. Like I really do. And I just don't understand like why it has to be bad blood. I don't, because the bad blood is ego.
And it is ego, and it's deep-seated pain that hasn't been dealt with because of the trauma that they've had to deal with. And I agree with you. Like I want Black men to be happy wherever they want to be happy. But it's like, and then traveling too, it's not just about having the experience. A lot of times, I'm a very spiritual person. I have a spiritual practice. I have several channels on YouTube, but I'm not going to get into that. But it's a very deep thing when you're talking about healing and you're traveling and you're being called to different places, different countries. It's about something deeper within you. It's about an ancestral bond that you have with those particular places. And that's why, for me, I just went to Dominican Republic back in September of 2022. So for me, being able to see these men travel and being able to see Black men who a lot of their ancestors and their parents never even left their neighborhood. It's good to see you guys branching out. And I don't have a problem with that because it's probably some type of ancestral bond that is connecting you to where if you go to these places, you can have a spiritual awakening.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
you're talking about, is it called astro mapping?
I think so. I'm not exactly sure the technical term, but I know that it's about like you having that connection on your Akashic records.
Right. And so I think it's astro mapping where there are certain parts in the world that you go and you're spiritually connected there, and so like you will feel more enlightened, happy, at peace, depending on the person. Right. Is that astro mapping?
I think it's astro mapping. I'm gonna have to do more research on it. I'm an intuitive, so I know about certain things and I don't really know the name of it. I don't know there is a name to it, but I just know it exists because it's a connection that I have with my spirit team. But at the end of the day, like that's exactly what I mean. I have heard of that before, like scrying, like you know when people scry and things like that, and it's kind of like a physical form of scrying where your body is drawing you to a particular place in the world because you have some type of ancestral bond. And I feel like Black men really need to reevaluate their psyche when it comes to this situation, because they could be gaining a lot more experiences if they were able to actually look at this situation more objectively and not be so shallow about the experience. They will gain more. They'll be able to have more. They'll be able to evolve more if they're able to look at it from a personal standpoint and not a standpoint of seeking validation from other people.
Yeah.
So
but that's gonna take it's gonna take time. I really felt like the issue here is that Black men have only been able to rely on their ego to make them feel like men. And it's because they typically throughout, I would say, society, their manhood is suppressed, like it's oppressed. So it's like they can't even really be themselves because they're always being judged, stereotypes, stuff like that. And then it's just like some other things, they, of course, they have their issues and things like that, but their manhood, I mean, they can't really express themselves in the way that they truly want to because, you know how it is.
Yeah. And I think that's, to me personally, maybe it's because I'm a mom, maybe it's because I've been through so much and I've come out of so much. But me personally, I just don't like to, I'm not saying you're making an excuse for anybody. I understand your compassion and empathy in this situation. But when men look to Black women or any other group of women to validate them in a situation or make them feel better about what's been going on with them, I don't have any sympathy for that.
No, they don't give it to us at all. They don't give it to, not even a little bit.
Because we've had to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and come up out of a lot of trauma too.
But listen, see, this is my empathic way when it comes to this part, right? I can acknowledge, but I'm gonna tell you to get your ass up. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna tell you to get your ass up and stop bitching about it and do something about it. I'm one of those type of empaths.
Girl, I was trying not to.
No, because listen, I get it, Black man, I get it. But what you gonna do about it though? Like I'm one of those type of people. It's like get your ass up and do something about it. We're not about to keep crying about it.
Oh my God. And that's the thing. It's like that's why I feel like they're making all these TikToks. It's like this passport bros, passport boys situation is like a cheap knockoff version of us getting on the boat.
Right. And getting back on the boat, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like but you know how Black women got on the trend on TikTok and they were all talking about let's get on the boat, support each other. It's like this passport bros thing is a cheap knockoff version of us doing that. But it's like they're missing the point of the whole situation. And like I was trying not to cuss, but like I know you said this going on Patreon. But my thing is like I don't have no sympathy for none of y'all and none of this shit that y'all are complaining about, because at the end of the day, nobody has my back as a single mom of 3, where the government, both of my children's father, I have a marriage, okay, that where 2 children came from and 1 that came from a baby daddy. Both of them are on child support. The government is not enforcing child. I ain't got a child support payment in months. Ain't nobody got my back. I am the only one who can make sure that things are taken care of for my children, because no one is looking out for me. Nobody is making sure that these men do what they're supposed to do, even when these so-called systems that they have in place are in place. So I have no sympathy for you when you're complaining about only making $40,000, $30,000, $50,000 a year. I literally came from nothing without a college degree and got to a point where I was making over $70,000 a year so that I could take care of my children because the government did nothing for me.
With kids. So that's
don't
why
tell me.
Yeah, it comes across as just flat out laziness. I tell y'all that all the time. When
And
you
it's like
don't want to help yourself, I don't have sympathy for you. Like when you
Right.
actively work against yourself, I don't know where you want me to pull my sympathy, my empathy. Like how can I nurture someone that is victimizing themselves by choosing not to show up for themselves? That's too much. And I can't stand it in girlfriends either. Like you keep telling them the same thing, they keep coming to you with the same story, and it's just like, girl, when are you going to do something about it? Like when you going to make the changes that you need to make? And you know the changes that you need to make because we keep having the same conversation. So that's what I'm saying. It's either you going to get on the pot and shit, or you going to get off and move out the way and start holding up the damn line. That like,
girl, it's crazy.
can't
It's
see
so
that.
crazy because like, and I don't want to hold you up, but it's so crazy because this is the last thing I really want to say. The fact that they think that going to another country to get a life together and like have a wife, it like the thing about it for me is that what you don't understand about spirituality, what you don't understand about your soul and about your life is that the same thing that is happening to you now that you mad about is going to be the same thing that happened to you over there. All you doing is running from your problems. If you run from your problems are going to chase you. They're going to hunt you down in every town, in every city. And no matter where Taylor Swift said it in the song. Okay.
Right.
It's going to hunt you down and you're not going to be able to run from it. Okay. Because karma come for you, even when you're hiding and don't nobody know where you at. Okay.
So listen, sis, the spiritual girlies, we know they in the same cycle. We know they still in the same cycle that they've been in. And we know they ain't going nowhere. They are on a hamster wheel. Okay. We know that they're in the same cycle. We know us
and
spiritual girlies, there's a lot in here.
Girl,
there's a lot in here.
popcorn.
Us spiritual girlies, we know they in the same cycle that they've been in, and they ain't found their way out yet. That's why they keep running into these problems. So,
girl, and then what's gonna happen is when they go over there and they start doing the same stuff, and they don't know these countries, and they don't know these laws, and they don't know these governments, and they don't know these mobs that's around. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm saying when you don't understand the culture of where you are going to, I've been to Japan, I've been to different countries. Like you literally have to go in with the utmost respect, and these men are disrespectful. And after a while, it's going to be a situation where that backfires on you, just like this situation where one of them is getting ran out, okay, of the country, and all this other stuff is going on because when you disrespect another man's land,
right, it's different.
It's different, and they can handle you any which way, and you're not gonna know what's coming because you came in there uneducated. So whatever you think you do, that's why I say it's fine. Bye.
Yeah,
have a good time.
They're way more conservative. They're way more conservative. You can easily offend someone. So yeah, they need to get educated on the culture. I just feel like Americans they just don't know how to be respectful. I'm just being honest, because even when I'm out, sometimes I'm like, y'all don't have no manners. It's yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, thank you, no, thank you.
Don't be rude.
Service people, like even when it comes to like valet, having somebody park your car, you say thank you. Even though you're giving them money, you still say thank you so much. Like these are the people that are servicing you. You want the best service. You treat people with respect. It's really that simple. I mean, I don't get it, but no, I agree. Thank you, Casey, for coming up here and sharing your perspective. I always enjoy it. You have a nice night.
Of course. I'm gonna send you an email too. If is your email in the description box? Because I just want to send you an email.
Real talk. Just send it to realtalkwithyani@gmail.com.
Okay, girl. Thank you so much for having me.
realtalkwithyani@gmail.com. You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, I will. You have a great night. You guys have a great night.
You too. Okay, Nature. I'm sorry, sis, for the long wait, and I'm sorry for all the other women that are waiting. I do apologize, but Nature, you will be my last call. This after hour was only supposed to be an hour long, and I'm just now noticing that we are 20 minutes in after the hour, so I do apologize. So, Nature, what would you like to add to this conversation?
Hi, Yoni. I was really engrossed in the last caller. Like I was really like washing dishes. I was like, yes, girl. Snapping my fingers like, whatever she said, she right. But yeah, I just wanted to just okay, so let me get my thoughts together. But yeah, pretty much it's kind of like what you were just saying before she left. My parents are from Haiti. I'm a first generation born here, right?
Okay.
And I've gone back to my country several times. I've gone to other countries. And to me, it's mind boggling. And I'm like, do all Americans think, or is it just the passport bros? When you go to other countries, they know you're not from there. Like
Right.
we can tell as soon as you get off the plane, that's an American.
Right.
We don't have to see nothing. It's a way Americans just carry themselves that they know you're not from there, right?
Right.
So usually most countries, they're usually just wondering, what kind of American are you going to be? Are you going to be rude, disrespectful?
Right.
Are you going to be hubris? Are you going to be like holier than thou, where it's like, because you know your American dollars is more currency here? Are you going to be disrespectful? Or are you going to be the American that's there to experience our culture, be nice, be courteous, say please and thank you, and just be, just enjoy your vacation? That's usually what, when you get off the plane, the people are paying attention to when they see an American step into their establishment, into their hotel. Those are the two kind of, they're like, okay, what kind of American are we going to get? Now with this whole passport bro thing, that's another caveat into it now.
Right.
And they don't realize that he has just put a bullseye on every black man's head that
I
goes
know.
to any country now. That's
Girl,
American.
that's what I've been saying. I mean, they don't he put a big target on their back, and they already had a target on their back because they're black, but now, oh my God. And all you got to do is be black and male.
Yes. So it's like, we already live in a world where black people in general, like we are not liked just for skin tone as it is.
Right.
And then not adding that you're an American black person, and everyone in America and in other countries, they automatically think Americans are very rude and we're very obnoxious, right? They always, like, when you go to France, they think Americans are obnoxious. They hate Americans. Like, they hate it. So you've put it a bullseye on your head. And it's what to me is like, these men have no foresight. It amazes me. I'm like, wasn't it just last year during the pandemic? Weren't y'all getting robbed and drugged in Colombia? Weren't y'all getting drugged in the Dominican Republic? Y'all did not learn? Did you not learn that your lessons from the other passport bros, who he was making a whole podcast talking about, oh, these are areas in Colombia you need to be careful because he got by some girl that he met in the club.
Oh my gosh.
You're going there wearing watches, Rolexes, and you're getting got. Like, y'all did not learn your lesson. You didn't learn your lesson. Oh, okay, so here's now another lesson, and it's gonna go right over their head. It's gonna go right over their head. And I'm just like, how many instances do you need to learn your lesson? Where it's like, before, I thought the passport bro thing was something that was like, okay, it's cute, whatever. I really thought, like, to be disrespectful, I thought it was like the lame kind of guys who had like no personality. They're not interesting. They're like, okay, well, American women, they don't know how to talk to women. So the American women, they know, like, okay, they're not looking for me. So let me go to another country and maybe those women there will find me attractive. I really thought it was with like genuine intentions, because white men do the same thing. Like, mail order brides are not new.
Right.
People have been doing that all. Right. So I was like, I'm thinking it's like a mail order bride kind of thing, but just for black men technically. But now hearing all these stories, and as soon as I got on TikTok, I'm like, you guys are doing this. You have nefarious intentions. From like, I don't know when it started.
They always think with their penis. Like even with white men doing the whole male bride, because we all know, like, that's where they got the inspiration from. It's like, but they're trying to create a home with that bride. They just trying to create like this sexual relationship, which leads to kids, which leads to a broken home. I'll give it to white men. At least they go over there, if they get a male bride or whatever the case may be, at least they trying to make a home with that woman. They're not trying to make a home with these women.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, I really thought it was on it was with good intentions.
Right.
And then when I
Right.
started hearing that this is what you're doing over there in these countries, it was like just another like, oh, come on, like y'all really have no dignity, no self-respect, no foresight. You don't have anything. You and it's kind of crazy. It's like you guys really have the balls. I'll give it to them. You leave your country where you barely get respect here. You get on a plane to go in another man's country, another man's patriarchy, and you thought you could be disrespectful in theirs as well? Are you crazy? You have to really be very dumb or very ignorant to really think that you could be that blazing in another person's country where you thought you were never going to face consequences. I understand that a lot of people think because you have an American passport, it means something in other countries. It really does not. It really doesn't. If they want to get you, they will get you. And if you contact the American embassy, if your family is able to contact the American embassy, we know a lot of people who are still stuck in other country jails, in China, in Russia, in France, and America's like, oh, well, you broke their laws. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's
And I
nothing you
feel
can do.
like it's important for us American women to continue to speak out against what they're doing, because we don't want to be associated with this negativity. When we travel, we don't want this type of reputation. And so I think it's so important that we come out and we speak about these things, because when I go overseas and when I'm in these foreign countries, I don't want to be perceived in the way that they are.
Yes. Like I just came back from Thailand. And I swear to you, I got out the taxi, right? And we were checking into the hotel. So I was the first person. I already went inside and I was waiting at the desk. The woman was like, she literally said to me, she goes, no men, right? No black men? And I was like, what? And I was like, huh? And she was just like, because she saw it was like two. I'm like, I'm just waiting for my party. She's like, no black men, right? And I'm like, what? Then my friend comes in. I'm like, no, it's a girls' trip. And I was like, at first I was like, so my friend was like, oh, she being racist and da, da, da. So I'm thinking, I was like, no. I said, the way she said it, she was whispering like, no man, right? And I'm just like, huh? But then I didn't realize, and I started when I came back and I'm seeing all this stuff on the internet, it's starting to make sense. It's starting, they're like, they don't even, because they see I'm black, they're like, oh Lord, is she with a black man? Because of me.
Listen, black women, we not defending their image no more. They on their own. They got to fix their image on their own. See, there was a safety net for them. That safety net is gone. We're not coming in to save the day and clean up their image. They need to clean it up for themselves. We're not doing that no more. We not. They're ruining their image on their own. We used to put them on pedestals, worship them, protect their image. We are not doing that no more. They are on their own. And it's imperative that we can, like I said, continue to speak out about their behavior and speak out against it, because we don't want them confused with us. They are on their own. We are on our own. When we travel to these countries, we respect the culture. And that's the thing about Black women. We are going to adapt. Like, we're going to learn the culture, learn the language, understand the people, respect the food. We're gonna have hospitality when we go to these places. We're gonna give that in exchange for the hospitality that we're receiving. So it's like we need to make sure that we're speaking out against their behavior, simply being that they on their own. Like, we don't associate with them like that. You know,
exactly. But if you have to understand, like, of course we're going to be respectful, because Black women we're the gatekeepers of the culture. Like, we're the ones who keep the culture. So obviously, if we're going to another person's culture, we know the women are the ones who are upholding that culture. We're going to be respectful. And the fact that you said, yeah, I don't want to be associated with your image of being disparaging in another person's culture. I don't want none of that on me. No, sexually. Yeah, like, no, I don't want to go to another country and have those men think that they can disrespect me as much as this. They already know that we're not protected by our own men. Right. I don't need any more troubles when I go to another country. It's already enough that I'm Black and I'm a woman, and just being a woman in general makes you pray. Right. Because they know that they're like, everyone knows, like, and not everyone thinks the same. Right. Other men will see it as, you're coming into my country disrespecting my women, so when your women come here, I can disrespect them too. Who's going to do anything about it? And I'm not up for that. No. You don't have any manners, you don't have no class, you have no couth, then you shouldn't be leaving the country.
At all.
You shouldn't be leaving the country.
At all. And so yeah, I agree. I agree, Nature. I agree so much. I 1,000% agree. Thank you for coming up here and sharing your perspective with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Yoni. Have a good night, you guys.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay, so you guys, like, I need Black women to speak out. And you guys, a lot of us are traveling solo. We're doing the whole solo thing, and I think it's great. But we don't want no issues when we travel. And you know how Black people we are perceived to be all the same. We don't need no issues. So no, I know a lot of y'all are like, oh, I want to mind my business and I want to paint my nails and eat my popcorn. And sis, I understand completely. I 1,000% agree. But listen, we're still Black and we are American. And unfortunately, because of how the system is set up, we are attached to these men, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. So you need to be outspoken. You need to speak up for yourself. If you feel like you're being treated a certain way because of what these men are doing, you need to speak up for yourself, because that's what's to come next, y'all. I'm always thinking ahead. And it's unfortunate that this may also fall back on us. You know, this may also affect us because they attach us to men, you know. So just make sure that when you're traveling and you're booking your flights and things like that, that you are aware that this could be a possibility, that you may be treated a certain way when you go to certain spaces. If you don't want that to happen, continue to speak up, continue to use your voice, continue to express your opinions, make TikTok videos, make it known that us Black women are not here for this, that we don't associate with this type of behavior. We're not encouraging it. We're not influencing it. We don't have anything against foreign women whatsoever. And we need to make that known. So like I said, continue to speak out. That's pretty much all that I have regarding this video. Of course, I always want you guys to be safe, especially when traveling. You deserve to have a wonderful experience. And it shouldn't be interrupted because of passport bros and their reputation that they have now created. And it's now going global. You actually deserve to enjoy your trip, enjoy your vacation, enjoy your stay. But again, you got to use your voice, okay? I can't be the only one doing it. You need to get on TikTok and make it known that you're not here for their ways, their behavior, or what they're promoting, because if not, this could fall back on us. This could affect us in a negative way, okay? So you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Spread the word, okay? Spread the word, because when I travel, I don't want to have no hiccups. I don't want to have no issues. I want to be able to enjoy myself and be at peace and be spiritual and put my feet in the sand and get in the ocean and just really connect with Mother Nature. I don't want this dysfunction being over there in a whole nother country. I just don't want that. So I love you guys. Please give the video a thumbs up and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.